Welcome to How Preschool Teachers Do It.
This is Alison Kentos. I am an early childhood educator.
And this is Cindy Tarabush. I am an early childhood consultant.
This podcast is for parents and early childhood professionals.
Let our experience and research-based knowledge become your guide.
Hi, preschool peeps.
Hi, peeps.
I'm already laughing about what I'm about to say. All right.
Go.
Okay. Imagine you're at work and there's a coworker who you have to deal with in your space all the time, but you don't particularly like them. And the boss comes to you and says, you two are going to work on a project together. You have no choice. And this project you're going to work on together all day long, every day for how long?
Months.
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 It's just the
The
two
whole
of you.
school year.
The whole school year. It is just you two together. Work it out. Learn to get along with this person who you otherwise don't like. And I don't know, maybe this has happened to you. I will share with you that I have been in situations where I was like the classroom teacher and they gave me an assistant who I didn't know. I'm not going somewhere else. So they gave me an assistant who I did not particularly gel with.
Correct.
Or didn't gel with me. Either way, we didn't care for each other, or we had
happens.
different styles. And I remember going to the director and saying several times, like, this is not working. And by the next school year, it was changed.
Yes, usually it is.
Right.
Yes.
And that's a situation in which we don't necessarily know the two people's chemistry because these are coworkers who've been put together. Okay, now imagine you are in a classroom and you have two children in your room who are not buddies.
Okay.
And the teacher decides, we're going to buddy you up and make you stay together.
All day.
And all day.
Yeah.
And you are how old?
3.
You are 3. So you don't even yet know how to form friendships. Plus, you don't have chemistry with this person. And the adult knew it and still put you together.
Yes. Imagine that.
And this, folks, is what we're calling forced buddies.
Forced buddies. And I just want to say that the reason why we are talking about this, because if you're sitting there thinking like, oh, Allison and Cindy are making stuff up. I was in a professional development session
Which is mind-boggling.
that said that we should do this with 3, 4, and 5-year-olds so that they can learn how to get along with people that they don't necessarily like. And it would be a life skill into their adulthood to know how to work with people that they don't particularly enjoy being with.
Okay, we all at some point in life have to learn to do that. We all are going to have coworkers, family members, dare I say, people who we are going to have to be in a space with who we don't necessarily get along with or gel with or see eye to eye we're all going to have to deal with that. I'm just going to propose that children who are like 3 and 4 years old are not yet ready to figure out.
Makes you
Think if we're in class, like we're in class together, right?
Yeah.
And these two children who are 3 or 4, or maybe even 2, don't get along together, then they're being in that class every day and not throwing trains at each other is them managing those feelings.
correct.
Okay. They're not
Getting along.
They're not pulling each other's hair.
Yeah.
They're not pulling each other's hair. They're not wrestling each other to ground. They're not tripping each other on the way to the bathroom.
To me, that is the life skill. Okay. Because like I work with people might not particularly gel with somebody at work. Do I go into their classroom and hang out? Oh, am I cordial to them in the hallway? Yes, that is me. That is the equivalent of me not hitting you over the head with a block. I mean, right? It's me being nice and friendly. Do I need to actively pursue a relationship with you? No, but I do need to be cordial and work with you cooperatively, but I don't have to be friends with you or buddies.
Correct.
So why are we forcing 3-year-olds? Because I mean, I'm old and I don't, if you,
But
I'm
you know what?
old and if you force me to be buddies with somebody all day, I'd be like, I'm quitting. I'm sorry.
It-
I can't do it.
It wasn't only that professional development system though. I think
No.
adults do this. I think
Yes,
adults
yeah.
think, well, I mean, think about at home. At home, your best friend has children and you have children and you really want your children and their children to be best friends.
True.
But then you get together and these children are not getting along. And very often adults continue to try and force that because their
Because they're
family
friends.
is my best friend and I want you all to get along.
Yeah.
And the truth is that there are some people who just don't get
Get
along
along.
for whatever temperament reasons.
Right.
Right.
And I would say you don't have to. Like to me, it's like
You don't have to. You're not required to get along with other people. You are not. I don't think that working together cooperatively is something that needs to be forced on children. Plus, let's remember this. When we're talking about child development, cooperative activities
Yes.
are not
Yes.
an expectation of children until at least like mid pre-K and beyond. So when you're saying to 3-year-olds, you need to work cooperatively together as a team, that's kind of dicey. You're always going to have
Right.
some children who are ahead of the expectations, but most children struggle to do that. And that's when we end up with pulling toys and arguing and upset and all that because they're not developmentally ready yet to work together as a
Right.
team. And it is somewhere around mid pre-K that we see children really starting to pull together and create the village out of blocks cooperatively together as a team,
Yes.
or able to start to handle team board games or whatever it is. Right.
Right.
So to even say to children who are 3 years old, we're going to buddy you up even though you don't like each other, and we're going to ask you to please work as a team even though you are not liking each other. What?
And,
What?
And can we just talk about the teacher in this situation having to manage all of that? Because now you force these two together. They don't want to play with each other. They don't even like each other necessarily. And I imagine, say you have 14 kids, that's 7 buddies that you have to manage, 7 buddies who are all arguing all day long.
I'm trying to picture
all
this.
the fires that you're going to have to put out as a teacher when you could just be like, just play with who you want. You know what I mean? Not to mention, like, I imagine 3-year-olds are not going to remember who their buddy is because they're
Well,
3.
if their buddy is their best friend,
Okay. They were buddies and you want to play dramatic play and I want to play bluff.
then we're not buddies anymore.
I'm gonna wander over to bluffs. Okay. And you as a teacher to be like, nope, sorry, Johnny, you need to come back here and play with Allison is wrong, I think.
Well,
Like it's
That brings us back to how do 3 and 4-year-olds pick friends? It is
Right.
not based on some higher moral instinct.
Right.
They pick friends based on who wants to play the same thing as them and who has not done something
Right.
like hit them in the head with a block.
correct. Yes,
Right?
Yes.
So I think it includes 2 decision-making factors.
Right.
1, have you ever hurt me?
Yes.
And
okay.
2,
Yeah.
do you want to play the same thing as me?
Right.
So if question number 1, have you ever hurt me, is already been done,
Done.
and
Yeah.
that's why we're trying to buddy these
Yeah.
children together to get along.
Right.
It's just the one child is going to be very anxious, maybe, or upset. All we're doing is causing bigger emotions, I think.
Yes, but you hit this on the head a little bit about it's I think just causing more anxiety. It like because now as a 3-year-old, 4-year-old, you can even move around the room how you want to, or like pick the things that you want to play with. You're forced to now talk to somebody and be like, do you want to play blocks? Oh, you don't want to play blocks? Oh, that stinks because I really do want to play blocks. I guess I'm forced to do whatever he wants. Like it's not right. It is not right.
Understand if there's not going to be anyone getting hurt, saying to 2 children who are not getting along, why don't we sit together and I'm there
Yeah.
helping to monitor something.
Yes.
Why don't the 2 of you come over and we're going to color together,
Right.
or we're
right.
going to play blocks,
Yeah.
or we're going to draw, or we're
Yeah.
going to paint, or whatever we're going to do together.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't mean coloring pages because those are not developmentally appropriate. I mean color freely. Okay, that's the end of that disclaimer.
Yes.
All right. I can see me as the teacher trying to help them to
Yeah.
resolve their differences and get along, going over and saying, you two, or putting them in a small group together while I'm there teaching and
Yes.
monitoring the small group.
Yeah.
I can see that
Yes.
because I'm right there to resolve any conflict with them because they can't resolve their own conflicts at
And
this
you
age.
teach them how to resolve it too, because you're there, right?
So-
You're modeling this whole thing, but
Is that, I'm wondering, as so many things are in early education, was that sort of professional development topic brought down from older children?
oh, probably. I mean, I
Because-
work in a school that has older children in it.
So, because so much of early education had been, and now a little bit less, but had been brought down, like it works with sixth graders, so we're going to do it with 3-year-olds. That's not,
work with 3-year-olds.
yeah, it's not, that's not true. It's not
Yeah.
going to work with them.
Yeah.
And that's why we need people who understand early education doing things like supervising early education programs and picking out professional development. Because things that apply to older
Sure.
children, you know, there are social emotional curriculums that you can get for your program that help children to learn
Yes.
things about their socialization and handling their feelings, which are so intertwined, which is why it's called social emotional development, because it's intertwined. There are curriculums out there now that you can bring into your program that are developmentally appropriate for this age group.
Mhm.
There are some, however, that were originally designed for older children, and then they tried to adapt it to younger children, some with more success than others. We'll just say
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to be really careful that it's developmentally appropriate. And I don't think that it is appropriate to say to 2-3-year-olds who are struggling, you're going to buddy up and you're going to figure it out on you two figure it out.
Well, yeah. And even if you don't figure it out, you're still forced with each other all day.
I don't understand the forcing thing. Think
Yeah.
about this. This is what it reminds me of. It's sort of the same, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm going to include myself in the group of people who have not attended any kind of high school reunion.
Oh, I've never attended a high school reunion.
No.
No desire.
Because my feeling as a very grown adult, many years after high school, was if I didn't like you then, or you didn't like me then, what's going to make us like each other now?
Right. And why do you suddenly care about how I'm doing when you clearly didn't care all these years before, is how I think.
If I wanted to know about you, I would at the very
Yes.
least be connected with you on Facebook.
Thank you. That's thank you. And if I am not, then I don't care.
I don't.
And if I am, some of them I am. I have high school
I
people on
am
there,
too. Yeah.
but
I am
still-
too.
like, I saw it on Facebook. I don't need to see you at a restaurant. No, thank you.
Just last week, I sent a funny message to someone I haven't seen since high school because we're connected on social media.
Yeah.
Because I was fine with you back then. Don't we
We're
always
different
seek out?
people now,
Yeah,
so,
but
yeah.
don't we always seek out to be with people we're okay with? So why are we taking young children and saying, I know you don't much like or care about each other, but we're going to force you together at an age when you can't really cope with this.
Yeah.
That is interesting. And folks, if you've been doing that sort of thing, thinking this will help them get along, I'm going to propose to you that what will help them get along is if you do bring them together in a
Yeah.
small group together, but you are right there.
Yes.
You are working with them.
Yes.
You are helping them to negotiate their play.
Yes.
If you see these two children who are not getting along, venture over to the same area of the classroom. Your job is to go over there and to
Yeah.
ensure that
That
their
they-
interactions are appropriate.
Right. But I think there is this notion that everybody in the classroom has to be friends.
No, they don't.
They don't. That's what I'm getting at. Like, they don't have to be friends. They need to be cordial to each other. They need
Yes.
to share the space. They are classmates. They need to act like classmates. They don't need to be best friends.
That's why the rule that I always teach teachers to teach is be kind.
Yeah.
It is not we are all friends in here.
No,
It is
it
not.
is not.
It's somewhere very early in this podcast. Among our first episodes, I talked about teaching rules to children.
Yes.
And I encourage you to go back and find that episode, search for it, because I talk more about what rules do we really need to teach them. And one of the rules we really need to teach them is be kind. It
All-
doesn't matter if you don't like each other, but we still have
Yeah,
to be kind.
All of my rules have kind that word kind in it. Be kind to others, be kind to yourself, be kind to our space. Those are my 3 rules. And then everything falls underneath that. So, because kindness, you don't even have to like the classroom to be kind to it. You don't have to like this toy to be kind to it. You don't have to like this person to be kind to them.
That's true.
Yeah. So,
if so these 2 children who are not getting along, I don't have to force them together all day. What I can do is teach them, like, I know that you're not getting along. I know that this person makes you angry or frustrated. And we're going to figure out a way to be kind to each other. And I will help you to do that.
Yes.
That's the more appropriate thing in my professional opinion.
Right.
I think about when you have been, folks, in situations when you were forced to be with people who you don't care for. It is unpleasant and you are an adult.
Yes.
And how are children expected to learn when they're feeling like that?
Well, they're not. I imagine like you're not going to really like going to school anymore.
One would imagine.
It's like my whole job is to make sure that they're happy when they're at school, like at least want to come to school.
I'm picturing children going home and saying things like,
and I couldn't play with my friends because I was
Right.
forced to play with this person who I don't even like.
Yeah, if I was a parent, I'd be like emailing that teacher at the very least and saying, what is going on? Why are you forcing my child to my child came home crying about this or upset about this? I can picture so many young children the next day not wanting to go to school.
Right.
And the family won't even know why. Right.
That's
Children
true.
have
They
trouble
won't know why.
expressing it.
Yeah.
So they
won't
get
know
up in
why.
the morning and they're upset and they're crying and they don't want to go. And maybe they're playing sick because they figured that out somewhere along the way from an older sibling or something.
Yeah.
And the parent is suddenly like, why don't you want to go to school anymore? What happened? Did somebody do something? Did somebody say something? Children are far less likely to complain than to just emote, to just say, I don't want to go.
Yeah.
So folks, think about that too. Think about the reaction that could potentially happen, because what are we doing? We're making school an uncomfortable place for young children. And that's the opposite of what it should be.
Right. It's like if you're an adult and you, like that example you gave, like you have a person in your room that you don't enjoy necessarily sharing the space with, you don't like going to work for a little while there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so like, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. They're just little and they can't process it.
That's right.
Yeah. Like, at least we can be like, all right, I gotta go. I gotta do it.
I suspect many preschool peeps are listening to us right now. Like, what were they talking about? Just so you know, based on a true story.
True story.
I enjoy watching TV shows and movies that say based on a true story.
Yeah.
And just so you know, based on a true story. Okay, preschool peeps. We're just going to let you ponder that, and we will catch you next time on the next episode.